A Story in Four Chapters, page 70, by Yulia Andreevna Skopchenko. Mystic blowing over, tapestry of threads, and cross-sections, choices to be made. As I contemplated a truck drives by, and I barely can breathe. I can almost see those petals fading away. I breathe out the air again, still taste of fumes on my tongue, but not as evident as the first time. Thinking back about work, his boss asked him to do inventory again. That meant that he needed to wake up early enough to start organizing inventory, scheduling people, and testing scanners. His eyes still on the same Lily, on Lily standing in the middle of the road, blooming in the mist of dirt. Fumes and people running. I thought to myself, has anybody ever noticed this Lily? What did it mean to the person who planted it? What planted was sweat, and did they expect it to bloom? Every day, as I drove by the lily, it made me smile. Standing alone, it was still a picture of beauty, strong and fascinating. The likely scenario is that it was planted by mother or father or sibling because a child died near school, and that memory of him or her stayed was the lily. I wanted to believe today that children don't have to die. I want to believe that a random seed carried by the wind and found a place, even if it's extremely unrealistic, to grow and make some people perhaps, to grow and make someone happy perhaps, or maybe even sad. There was one thing that was different and peculiar about the busy street that led to his house after long days at work. His work wasn't pretentious or particularly easy. It was a living. Nobody cared about who he was. People walked past him on a regular basis as if he was one of those goods sitting on the shelf. He was once so tired of banal life that he actually made grimaces as people walked by him, and still politely greeting customers. Not one looked at his face, and they walked by, still not seeing him. He finished driving and pulled up to his house. The car was bright, and the red shining on the sun. He pushed the button, and the door to his car locked. As the house door unlocked itself, the remote worked only close proximity, so the danger of opening the house while locking a car at different locations didn't exist. He slowly walked up driveway, entered his home. Beautiful sun ray filled his house. It was designed to intake as much light as possible. The hardwood floors shining like mirrors, the palm trees near the window created a series of atmosphere. He plopped on the sofa and heard his roommate walk down the stairs. Some man would find her beautiful. Slender legs extended to slender, bendable body and small breast that always perked up underneath her t-shirt. Her smile was warm and charming, and her hair always somewhat messy. She had a green mask. It was crushed cucumber in her soft and soothing voice. By looking at daily magazine mandatory for every citizen, Kate says, "Hey, Romeo, with your smile I don't understand why you do a job that no one cares about. You should be on the television just like the rest of us." Some of us feel differently. Plus, I don't mind my job. And what do you mean by the rest of us? The population doesn't revolve around television station. He said, stretching his muscular hands above his head and thinking to himself. The pretentious idea that job is more important than the rest of ours will one day kill the society. Well, in any case, your copy of this stuff is sitting in your room. You should try reading it. It's good for you. Kate, why you can tell me all about it. So who was it today that got married? Who cheated on his wife and husband? Did somebody got knocked up? He said with a smirk on his face. You're lucky. Did I know that you are not trying to be smarter than an average otherwise, I would turn you and the books you read directly to the police administration. The smirk was wiped off from his head, and he no longer even smiled. Sadness clouded his eyes, and tears formed but never dropped. He wasn't sad for himself. He regarded that such a beauty couldn't see the absurdness of her situation, and everybody else in the country. He got up and walked towards the shelf. He had an old book that he never finished reading, and today was calling out to him. He took the book and went to the kitchen. Out of the fridge he took out a pack. It had measured drink, perfect amount of fresh vegetables, some fruits for dessert, and red meat with rice. Perfectly measured proportions to make sure he lives a healthy lifestyle. In her shirts, out of cotton, and hair in a ponytail, Kate sat next to him. She radiated warmness and was irresistible for most men. As they ate dinner, she told him all about the latest celebrities, what they ate, wore, and acted. This information would come to use tomorrow morning during coffee discussion at work as he chose his meals and closed music. Individualism was prohibited. Dying notion of 21st century. He wasn't all about individualism. Actually, he never quite understood why celebrities could be individuals, but the rest of the public had to follow their lead. What if they were wrong? His thoughts were still on the book, but now he was loaded with information that he had to keep in his head. He looked up, and his dark brown eyes, in the shape of an almond, fell on his lips, rosy and moist. She was still talking. He waited for her to finish, and with a warm smile he said, "How was your day at the studio?" "Oh, welcome to the real world. You actually decided to ask." He loved her sarcasm comments. "Well, you know, the digital makeup artist didn't have to correct anything on my skin. However, my hair was a different story. I look like what they were called. I saw them in one of your books. Snakes all around the head. I don't remember. Oh well. I could see women next to me dying of jealousy, but what can I do? I was born with a skin that radiates." Herman thought to himself, she was never shy about how good she looks. It's kind of funny, and smiled. She continued her monologue. "We reported on weather. It was cloudy and rainy today. It made me sad. And then we talked about latest news, mostly the clothing market and development in fashion." Those were the last words he heard, because his head was catching on the idea he was perplexed by the last couple of days. News and marketing was different in 21st century, and otherwise information distribution centers. In the book, they describe news, complete list of latest inventions and political conflict, as well as fashion, health, weather. What prompted our government to change that pattern? Why do we only get fashion, health, and weather? Marketing was a science of persuasion to buy goods that companies were selling. Suddenly he remembered and mentioned that a lot of artists and athletes were used to advertise, sell products to the public. What made artists and athletes of that time viable sources of information? It seemed like the idea was gate to the truth. It seemed like because of marketing ideas of past, today life was amplification of what one simple idea. All of a sudden, he felt her soft breath near his ear. "You got lost in your thought again, didn't you?" He looked up. In her greenish eyes that were framed by dark hair, and said, "I wish sometimes you would get lost in your thoughts with me as well." He kissed her lips, turned around on the chair, and kissed her nipple. She melted into him like she has done on multiple occasions before. He mentioned He methodically took off her shirts and unzipped his pants. As her ass was soft and pleasant to the touch, he pulled her close enough to feel her warmth. Realization came that he needed condoms. Taking her hand, he motioned her to follow him, pulling her upstairs to the bedroom. While walking, that needed to have her evaporated, and he remembered about his book. Letting go of her hand, he continued to walk up the stairs. She stopped and gave him a long stare. He could feel it burning through his back, softly hiding her sobbing. "I'm worried about you. But I suppose I need to go back and get my shirt, don't I?" Romy was amazed by the perceptive nature this woman had. Even though she barely stopped to think about rolled around her. "I'm sorry," all he could venture to in reply. Silently she walked to her room. No words were necessary. She felt rejected, but he couldn't make her feel better. It's not like he wanted another woman. It's not like she wanted to talk to him about the book he was reading. It's not like she sat next to him and read the pages, smiling or disappointed by the words on the page. She needed his body, and he needed a soul. Falling asleep with a book in his hands, he regretted not comforting Kate. Images flying by like waterfall of pictures, and then they stopped. He was in the middle of the field. Kate stood there. She seemed to radiate warmness. She was wearing a piercing white dress. There were flowers around her, tulips that formed rainbow. The long green leaves only highlighted each color of the flower. The bud looked like a dome with layers of protection. Expecting the pistil to appear, but not quite seeing it because of the petals. The petals were rare. They looked like a child found scissors that produced pattern and gave each petal a layered haircut. She was standing in the middle of the green and purple tulips. There was a book in her hand, and it almost seemed like she was rehearsing a role. He realized that he was holding a flower, cherry blossom. It was soft like her skin, fragile like the expression on her face. He continued to stand there, as almost frozen. By the time he wanted to move, but he was afraid that the image might rush. The moment he moves in her direction, the image flickered again. She slowly walked to her room. Random quote was in her head. For every reaction, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So tears in her eyes. She couldn't feel anything but rejection. Putting her headphones on, she slowly closed her eyes. Her hair was wet, the sweat dripping down her back. The room was dark. She knew it like her own palm. There was a chair in the middle of the room, a bear lying by her bed. Her blouse was on the chair. Everything was as she left it last night. She sat on that bed for a while, thinking of the events in the last 4 months. It all started around Christmas party. It's always brought happiness in her life, more so than her birthday. He was there, mysterious. She dreamed about him numerous times. The dream seemed more real, a kiss on the lips, on the neck. She opened her eyes, no one there. Theater people acting. It's just like real life. No. She never believed it. It all changed that Christmas night. No, not one person existed as himself. Not there. Was this party just a dream? Seems too mystical to be real. Something about acting could be sexy if done right. Was he in the play? So last summer? Impossible. Ice skating ring. 15-year-old girl falling. She hurt herself. Not enough to cry about, though. She was there, too. He gave her his hand. She never took it. She could get it up herself, yet for a split second their eyes met. Only that split second the truth existed between them. Next minute fear overtook them. The ice was slippery. He skated faster, trying to escape the fear, and left her behind. Ocean, blue, relaxing, immense in size. Are those right words? Life complicated, happy, unexpected, beautiful, sad. Is there more words? Conspiracy theory. Is it possible? Could it be there? One was no mistake. And even if you know about it, should you share? Conspiring, will it help? Why not try the truth? She looked at the clock. It said it was 3 in the morning. The night was over. Maybe she'll dream of him again. The prince and the dragon will never be taken away. Dreams, pure, chaotic, anything you want them to be. Real, fake, mysterious, great, and horrible. Impossible to change, but wonderful when awakened. Even if it's scariest out of all of them. Time to wake up. You slept way too long. Enough. She was thinking to herself. Time to face reality. Not enough time to lie in bed. Come on, open one eye. Good. Another. Maybe a few more minutes. But then I will miss time for social deportation. Brr, it's cold. Time for hot shower. Water running out of the shower head, falling on her hair, and down on the shoulders and back, running down the leg and into the black hole. I'm finally awake. She washed her hair